Hello and welcome to The Wizard and the Priestess. I am your host, Nuala, and this is...
Matt.
Would you like to bring in a little joke, Matthew?
I was watching a documentary the other day and they showed how oceans communicate. Do you know how they do it?
No,
Wave.
that's so bad. It's just like never-ending terribleness. Oh, but at least
Here
you're
we are.
feeling joyful, so that's
Yes.
good. Cool. I was having an interesting conversation today,
Cool.
which I thought would be interesting to end off. As some of you may or may not have realized, I am sort of stretched quite thin at the moment, and I don't have the capacity to be around or be available in the ways that I had hoped for our podcast. So
Rather selfishly. Yeah.
this will be
Sorry, just say that out loud.
this will be this will be my last official unofficial podcast today, and yeah, I imagine there may be a time where I contact Matt again and say, actually, I've got something to talk about. I want to come back on. But, he might just blow this thing up and be like, actually, you'll have to speak to management.
There are
So we'll see
exciting
how it
things
goes with
coming.
that. But I just wanted, there you go, everyone. It's funny. It's this funny feeling of I, building something, planting something, watching it flourish, watching it grow, and then walking away or letting it fend for itself. And yeah, it's a funny feeling. I find it really sad and grief stricken, but at the same time, it's sort of a reality too.
Well, I think at the same time, we need to acknowledge the fact that when did we start recording? Was it October 2023? So since then, until let's say mid this year, when you, let's be honest, didn't really live up. I mean, think of how much life has happened in that time. And we've been through, the pregnancy, we've been through the birth, the postpartum, some, friendships dissolving, the whole Hampus thing, leaving True Woo, moving, and then the settling in with that. A lot's happened. And from my end, I'd have to take my hat off to you because you haven't missed a beat during that entire thing. So if I had a hat on, I would tip it.
Oh, Matt, it's the sweetest thing you've
I've
ever
said
said.
sweater, but yeah, that's good to know you're paying attention.
Not to me. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's been a big time, but also just is, life
Life keeps
keeps
laughing.
lifing. But yeah, what I was thinking of other than that was I was thinking about, so I'm all into my biology stuff, and I've been talking about it for quite
Never
some
heard you
time
say
now,
anything.
probably the most part of the year. Yeah, so for the past 11 months, that's been my focus. And yeah, I was thinking about this today because we kind of touch on this a lot when it's when we come up with the new thing and we're excited about it, but then we're also, you got to be conscious. I usually, when I find something new, I want to dive straight in. I want to chew on it. I want to rip it apart. I want to investigate it and know everything about it. And then obviously now not having as much capacity to do as much deep diving as I'd like to in all the ways, I'm trying to piece things together as best I can when I can. And one of the things that came up today, I'm doing another course, or a more specific Ganesha Haikunde course now. And one of the things that I was asking the teacher about was that I was asking her about this idea that, spirit guidance and spirit being a guider, or feeling spirit through intuition or instinct, or even download, a download or an action, or a synchronicity. And I was asking whether from her perspective there was a biological understanding for that, because from my perspective we cannot be human without it. It is one, and it's part and parcel of us. Like, that's what essentially we started talking about on this podcast. Whilst we are health practitioners, it's always like, yeah, but there's always something more than that. We can't just address the physical facets. We are a full energetic being of receptive reflection. Anyway, so I was asking her about that, and she actually kind of gave me a pretty cool answer. She was like, we have to be part psyche, we have to be part spirit. There has to be that aspect of us, that soul essence is biological. And because there's things that just happen that you're just not, you can't. Yeah, I guess once you start looking at things in this light,
Well, it's like being in the presence of someone with abundance of energy. You can't help but feel energized by it. And there's also the opposite end of that scale. Some people who just drain you. So there's always an energetic exchange going on. So if that's in a therapeutic sense, I always, I guess challenge myself when people come in for a treatment. Is it the treatment itself, or is it them just taking an hour of their day to lay down and just verbally vomit their troubles? Like, what's more therapeutic? Of course it's the treatment. Yes, yeah.
Of course, keep paying me, keep coming back, look back in. Do not start having a rest on your lunch break. Do not start talking to a voice note or calling your friend.
Never.
That's not the answer. But I think that's the thing. Well, in like times gone by, there's always been the healer. And the healer's been a person that has had the capacity to hold someone through those hard times. And whether or not it was the herb that had the ability to, reduce the inflammation and discomfort, or to, give the modality that adjusted the body so that it was like softer and more capable, or helped the mind find ease in a practice that it couldn't find ease in before. There's always been a healer. There's always been that what's that called? Profession.
Or that archetype.
Has always existed throughout. Archetype, right? So they've always been there. And then you have, so whether or not you call your friend, you do sort of need that therapeutic conversation that isn't just telling you what to do. It's giving you space to come and formulate your own ideas, or give you pieces of advice that then allow you to formulate a little bit more succinctly, or someone that can hear the bullshit you're spewing and bring you back into alignment to what actually is going on, instead of just keep you running on that loop. So I think whether or not it's the treatment itself that's helping to realign your energy, organs, whatever it might be, fascia, muscles, or it's just the rest and the chat, you still need to use a therapeutic person that knows the ways in which you can, and I think that comes from professionalism as well as experience. But I did have a moment the other month, when was it? A few weeks ago, I decided to do a little bit of a pop-up clinic up where I'm living, and it was really fun. But whilst I was in there, I obviously am aware of my practice and my treatments, but there was this moment in me that I'm like, this is all such a game. Like, I'm just playing here. This is just my game that I get to play. And I imagine like my kids do this all the time. They're just a part of the imagination, and it kind of, yeah, just reiterates and affirms for me things like that, where we're just playing here. We're all just playing in the game of life, and at some point we're going to die, and we're all, this physical body is no longer going to exist. But yeah, there's that piece that will always, from my perspective, is always there, is always living. And, you know, the poets talk of it, it lives in the breeze, or it lives in the birds. But yeah, it's kind of it's a funny piece. It's an interesting perspective as we almost hit 12 months since Hampus's diagnosis. So yeah, it's been and 12 months since, like, whilst there's been a lot that's moved, the last 12 months has probably been the most impactful. But yeah,
So everything you've just spoken about, how does he see that?
Hampus. Yeah, he's on board. I think he totally is with me in all of it. It's quite an interesting thing. The reason I asked this question to my mentor or teacher today was because over the weekend, Hampus and I had a bit of a kerfuffle, and we went camping, and I really wanted to go for a swim. It was hot. I'd been with the children all day. We'd had the athletics carnival, which is like this homeschooling athletics carnival, magic, so beautiful. Like, all these kids homeschooling from everywhere come together and have this big carnival. And it was just really, really beautiful, because I just thought those sorts of things don't exist now for my child. And I mean, she would be in potentially kindergarten, so it's not like that would exist really for any child in kindergarten. But yeah, it was a really fun day, and we were tired, but then we went camping. And so I said to Hampus, we need to get the tent set up, because we're tenters, and we set the tent up, and then I really want to go for an ocean swim. Like, we haven't been near the ocean for some time. It's really like, the ocean for me is medicine, and I do miss her when I'm not close. Anyway, he was annoyed because by the time the tent was set up, the kids were riding bikes, and someone had suggested they go for a bike ride. So he said, we're going to go for a bike ride. And I said, no, I'm going to the beach. I'm going to jump in the ocean. That was the plan. And he's like, well, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, just tell the kids, get off the bike, get dressed, let's go. And anyway, a few friends arrived, and then they all went bike riding, and I was just like, fine, I'm going swimming, see ya. And he was okay with that. Like, obviously took the reins and looked after the kids, but it took about 45 minutes for me to get the all clear, you go, I'm going to take the kids. So I was like festering in this, like, we made a plan, I really want to get in the ocean, the plan's not going to plan. Anyway, what ended up happening was I just festered in that a little bit, and then anything I said to him, he took as a criticism and a negative, and he negatively responded to that, and then it just kind of went on until we got over it, and then we said, like, hang on, like, what are we doing? We're sort of acting like children right now, and we need to be better. So that afternoon, not that afternoon. By the end of the weekend, Sunday afternoon, I got home and I was cleaning things up, and I slipped my finger on a knife. And I was like, oh, that was weird, silly thing. And then I realized that I'd really badly cut my foot on an oyster. But at the time when you cut your foot on an oyster, you're like, it's fine until it's not fine. And it was funny because both of them are on my right side, which we could see as the masculine, but from a Manishe Hakunda perspective, the right side is related to the partner or a relationship that you're not your mother or your child. The left side is always related to the mother and the child. Anyway, so that I was like, wow, I've cut my finger, and it's my pointer finger. And then I stepped, and then when I looked, this must have been 2 nights ago, the skin had like broken and it was quite a deep gash, but it had healed over, and so it was building up with pressure because it hadn't cleaned out properly. And I just was like, I need help. Like, this needs to be. And I was so grateful for my mum. I must have solved some serious conflicts because I was like, Mom, I've hurt my foot and I need you to cut open the wound. Like, I need it to be released because I can't, it's throbbing and I can't get to sleep. And Hampus would be useless because we'd have 3 kids awake by that point and it would just be too much. So I was like, oh, heavenly that my mum is here right now and she can help cut open my foot, release. It wasn't really pus, it was just fluid, but it was fluid. So it was, I guess, it's not mixed with microbes yet. But anyway, and oh, the relief and the healing and whatever. But the next day, that moment, after I'd got healed or like fixed up, I laid back in bed and I was like, I need to read up on what this is. And I looked at my foot. I'm like, oh, it's at kidney 1, like the acupressure point. It's the most south point
Is that
of
at the
the
bottom of the
meridian
foot?
system. It's like that earth
Yep.
connector. Yeah, right between the like, the white and red skin meets. And I was like, oh, wow, that makes sense. Like, I've got to ground, I've got to land, and I've got to reconnect to the earth and allow the earth to meet me, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that makes sense because I was a bit pissed off. And then I was pointing fingers. And so I was really, it was pretty interesting. And then on Monday afternoon, Hamper said to me, oh, wow, babe, I had this really weird experience. I've never dropped my secateurs, but I dropped them and literally sliced my top of my knee. And I was like, oh, what knee? And he's like, my right knee. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And he's like, what do you mean? Why? And I was like, well, because I've cut my right finger pointing at you and then pressed on and then cut bottom of my foot. And then now you've cut your right knee. And what I needed from you was support. And what are the knees correlated to is support. And like specifically for men. And I was just like, wow, like, so in telling him that, he was just like, oh gosh, that's pretty, like, both of us cut ourselves somehow on the right side within days of each other, within like deep, I guess, thematic, like right on point thematically for each other's like experience. And I think that for him was like, he was like, oh wow, it's pretty telling that there's something bigger and like bigger out there. That um, coincidence is so like bang on in a sense, and it was yeah, it was kind of, yeah, I think that's the sort of thing that really opens him up to recognition of like, oh wow, there is that higher power or that energetic aspect of us as humans, that we are just dancing through life and it's all there if we want it to be. Like we can, we can connect to that. And then obviously we can go a few steps further, which is when we go beyond just being like that biological, and then we start to move into what would be called constellation, or most psychics essentially have had some pretty big life experience, and then they've kind of gone into what's known as the flyer constellation. It takes you out of your body and more into that esoteric and allows you to bring in this external output in a more logical way. But yeah, for everyday humans, we've got that kind of essence, or that energetic essence that's just there, that's kind of dancing alongside with us.
That's
But yeah, that's
well, it's just
pretty cool experience.
it is there, and you can't really deny it's not there unless you live a life of, thinking everything's a coincidence or a magic fluke or bad luck or whatever label you want to put on it. But it everything comes from something, and I think
Yeah.
if you're not really sure, you don't have to know where everything comes from, but I think at least acknowledging that there is, at least on many levels, a greater part of you. And that greater part of you, as we've spoken about in episode, the density one, whatever that number, which one that was, how that you exist in all densities at once, but it's not of time as we measure time. It's not of linear time. Therefore, it's all happening at once. So you can actually leave breadcrumb trails for yourself. And those breadcrumb trails are the stabbing of your finger, the cutting yourself, the kicking your toe, the argument with that person, or the reoccurrence of stuff happening in life. It's always a coincidence, it's bad luck, etc., etc. But there is, as you're saying, there's like a higher thread to it.
Yeah, and I'd say that they, like even today, in today's realm, we start talking about like little T trauma and like the patterning that we keep patterning out. And there it's sort of both true and both real at the same time. It's like you do have this little T trauma that keeps patterning around you. And you do feel that when you walk into a room and you meet someone or you meet someone's energy and you can sense that something's a bit off. And then at the same time, we could see that as the whispers, the gentle whispers that are trying to coax us back onto a more abundant golden path. And yeah, I feel like Hampus and I haven't had such a like boom boom experience where I've cut my pointer finger on my right hand, and he cut his right knee and I cut my right foot. Like that's sort of, it's an interesting thing, like the theme of cutting too. Like I could have had a sore shoulder, but no, I didn't have a sore shoulder. I had a cut, like actually
Well,
sliced
what
my
does the
finger with a
cut
knife. You know,
represent?
it's sort of I don't really know, Matt.
Well, I thought you'd
I
bring
didn't
this to the
I
table,
didn't
Nula.
I think
You
it's
made
just
the
a
comment.
sever.
Back it up, bro.
I think so. I think the thought, if I thinking on the fly, the idea of the cut is just the severing of that experience. So it's kind of like this has to end. This experience that's going on right now is the reminder that you need to stop pointing your finger. And for Hampus, it doesn't need to stop supporting me, but that's where the cut's coming. It's like this reminder of, okay, because when I explained to him, I'm like, all I need from you, or all I want from you, is to feel supported. And when you pull away, withdraw, or respond emotionally to me, my being tells me I am no longer supported, I am no longer safe, and I start pointing the finger more. So, or I start to, I'm trying to find that support again. So the cut itself is, I don't know, in some ways it feels like the reminder of things that I need to be conscious of. And so the finger pointing, stop finger pointing. And then my foot, more like I saw it as, okay, release what you kind of release that back into the earth and allow space now, allow this, this opening to draw more energy back in.
Is the right side
But
output?
yeah, it can be. Well, it depends. There's definitely different ways to look at it, but right side would be your more masculine, so more action oriented. From the brain circuitry aspect, for a right-handed, right-wired person, the right side is correlated to your partner, your dad, or anyone that you have relationship with. So friendships and aunties or uncles, it would all go onto the right side if you're right wired, and then the left side is kind of the sacred or like kind of red thread side. So it's only the mother and only the children. So that'll all go onto the left side. So that's where it can be seen to be, more feminine because it's the mother on the left and the father on the right. However, if you're left wired, it'll flip. So the left side will be the father and the relationships to other, and the right side will be the mother and
So,
child.
what was the biggest thing you got out of that experience?
Don't fuck with
And wear
knives.
shoes.
No, just I think more than anything was like at the beginning of the year, I made a pact to myself or to Miracleina that I was going to be a certain
What happened
person
to the
by the end of the
Spanish?
year. And well, I actually met a guy who's learning Spanish, and I speak to him sometimes in my pretend Spanish, in my trial Spanish. And the other day, I was trying to say goodbye, and I said like, I can't remember. I was muchos nachos or something like that, and he's like, anyway, I can't remember what it was, but I thought I got a rhythm. I thought I got something. He's like, much chips, and I'm like, see ya. Anyway, that hasn't come to fruition as much. But what Hampus and I have been doing is we've been incorporating Swedish so that our kids, we've been really trying to make sure that we speak more Swedish, and that because Delphi, our second, she gets it, but she's annoyed at Swedish. So that means that we haven't spoken enough around her. Luana's pretty solid on her Swedish, but she just needs to keep practicing it. And then Aqua, we haven't really done any Swedish, so we thought, so that's something that we're bringing back in. But then one of the big things for Miracleina was to have like a really solid foundational relationship. And so that's why I did do the Freya course, which was with Dr. Sasha and Nelly. And that was that biological understanding course, so that male feminine stuff. And that was that definitely has had a huge impact on Hampus and I. And then I think this was the first argument, or the first time I felt this like really aggressive sensation in my body towards Hampus since I'd done that course. And so for me, I think that knife cut was really clearly like, that is a no. You will not continue that. Miracleina does not do that. So moving on. And then the same for Hampus. Like, she needs your support, mate. Like, here, I'm going to cut your knee again so you know that you need
Poor
to,
guy.
like, I mean,
And so, a question I get a lot
um,
from clients and listeners: how is Hampus?
yeah, he's really good. Um, he is, he's doing and living, and he's
So I
alive.
saw him. When were you down? Was it last month? Yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah,
Like better than I've.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's good. He's committed to, he sort of, he kind of realized he probably wasn't looking after himself in the way that he should have been, which was just him repatterning in the way that he has been doing. And I think he's really, really digging his heels into like trying to stop that and curb that. And so he like knows that he needs to take his initiative and do his things to do that. But otherwise, he's thriving, he's healthy, he's well. Um, yeah, there's he's definitely a more I don't know how you just he's more himself than he's ever been. Easy breezy, beautiful kind of dude. So yeah, we had considered doing a like a recap podcast with him, and we might do that in a few months or something and see where we're at then. But yeah, he's doing really well. And I think, when we're dealt cards that don't feel great, that kind of shatter us in a way, or shock us and take us into conflict, and as in physical, personal conflict inside our bodies, the only ways to move forward and to continue healing and to open yourself up to opportunity. And I think that's what this experience has given us for sure, because where we were as a family 12 months ago is just not a place that I want to go back to. And I didn't think we were in a bad place. I mean, we were in a bad place because there was a lot of things moving 12 months ago to the day almost. But it was not, yeah, it's an interesting way of like how I was feeling in myself. Like there was a lot of disharmony. Even if I could be like, oh, I don't know why I feel this way. I don't actually feel like I don't feel this should be anything, but there's something inside of me that's feeling unharmonious and no peace. I didn't have the peace. And then obviously got cracked open by a cancer diagnosis. And then since that, we've put pieces back together with solid foundation. And I think that that's, you know, we always talked about this, you know, some people have to hit rock bottom, which is a shame, but it's almost like unless you do really hit rock bottom, not that I felt like I hit rock bottom, but it definitely gave us, you know, the restart. You know, okay, we actually need to put these bricks in place with the mortar in a way that is solid and is unbreakable. And at the very least, if it's going to be obliterated, let it be obliterated into gold. Like let it move to metal, so it's not just fickle, and it's not just going to like be blown down by the wind or the wolf or what a big bad wolf. When the big bad wolf comes, like you want to have the bricks and the fire pit, you know. So yeah, I think that there's been a lot of growth and a lot of transformation, and whilst there's yeah, there's always moving pieces. Like I shared with Matt, my grandmother has just got a diagnosis of yeah, sickness. And to me, you know, she was going to die last year, and then she made it through to another year, and she was fantastic, or over a year and a half. And then yeah, and then now you're just kind of like, oh, okay. And then it's also being really like humble and accepting that not many people are going to choose the path we chose. And that's so fine and completely understandable in all ways. And I really respect anyone's choice in any matter. But it has been quite an interesting journey, even when I did my pop up clinic. And I spoke to these people, and obviously the people that came were the right people, and every single one of them had a story about cancer, had a story about the medical system, had a story about brain cancer specifically, and they didn't even know. They had no idea who they're talking to, and they had no idea what I'd walked. But it was very affirming for me that we made the right decision for us, because the train that is that system is just not the system. And I mean, we spoke actually a year ago about this, or maybe it wasn't a year ago, maybe it was in a few more weeks, but it was almost a year ago when we had our podcast where I was like, we're not doing that. And then we went and had a few more tests, and we were like, oh fuck, maybe we have to. Maybe we have to get on the train. Maybe we have to go down there. There's no other option. No one's giving us another option. And yeah, everyone was scared except for Hampus, who wasn't scared. He was like, no, nah, not doing that. Or I don't want to do that. That doesn't seem like the right way for me. Anyway.
What was the biggest thing?
Yeah, it's
what am I saying? What was the thing he did that created the biggest shift for him?
I actually wrote a blog about this today. I think the biggest thing that made the biggest shift for him was the choices that he made under pressure. So when we were told you need to go to the hospital now, and he was like, well, okay, all right, is that the only way to do this? And they were just like, you are dead. You're dead man walking. And then when, you know, yeah, what we did, we came and saw you, and we were like, hey, I don't really believe he's a dead man walking. Like, what's your perception of this? And, you know, you were like, well, there's definitely fluid there. I don't want to confirm or deny that there's a growth, that there's fluid, and that's what I feel. And we were like, okay, well, we can sit with that and we can sense into it. And then, and then sharing with a few other people. And then they were like, go straight to the hospital. You are a dead man walking. We're like, oh, all right. Maybe
Yeah.
not just a
I
little
mean, we
brain,
laugh
but
about it now.
also I think in that,
Mm.
but that's the point. We have
Yeah.
to be able to laugh about it. Otherwise, we haven't moved through it. But even in that moment,
Yeah.
it was laughable. Hampus literally was laughing at this guy's crying at telling him this experience. And Hampus is like, yeah, okay. I mean, he wasn't laughing at that, but he was just like, okay. And then when we went into the hospital, and that was just sort of like, okay, such is. You need to sit here and like, we're going to do surgery tonight. And Hampus like, no, no, no. Like, so I think that is probably where he instinctually had the nudge to go, no, I actually am going to I'm going to stand up now. I've been pushed around and like not actually following the nudge for so long. When the pressure's on, the nudge just pushed. And, once again, we're in the hospital and I called you and I'm like, hey, man, we're going to leave the hospital. And you're like, just be prepared. And this was so like such sound advice in this moment for someone who was, we weren't sick and he wasn't sick and dying. If anything, he needed to find, like he found, what is it called? Avenues or like second opinions, third opinions. Like there was more work to be done before there was this necessity to do this operation right there and there. And that is because he was fit, well, and healthy. So I just want to reiterate that if you're not fit, well, and healthy, if you've got a Bell's palsy in your face and you're getting numbness down your arm or heart palpitations, walking out of the hospital is probably not necessarily your greatest option. Not saying you should or shouldn't do it, but I'm just saying that it was very different when he was like, I am well. I do not believe this thing is going to kill me today when I've had the same symptom for the last 5 months. If I was going to die, by this thing right now, I would be dead right now. I must be able, something else is going to have to shift. And if not, that was the choice he made in that moment. But yeah, I think that when he stood up and when you were like, just be prepared that they're going to push back now, because people don't walk out of the hospital without getting the answers that they went there for. But when we saw that the train was going that way and we were not wanting that, he just decided, I'm getting off that train, and then did essentially, after a few more like opinions, but yeah, did definitely get off that train. And I think that is, if there's one thing that I have learnt from this experience for Hampus particularly, is that under pressure, like decision under pressure, like finding that nudge under pressure. And I think that's what happens though. I think when you get to that point where you are going to be pushed in the direction that doesn't feel right for you instinctually or intuitively for a woman, then it is going to, like, you can either listen to it or not. And I think that is coming back to what I wanted to talk about today, in that like, biologically we are spirit still. Like there is soul within us that is guiding us, supporting us, nourishing us. It's there.
Is the
And
soul in us? Are we in
it's a
the
part of,
soul?
oh, you told
What
me
if you do that face?
What do you think?
It resonates to me more that the body's in the soul. Because where does the soul finish and the body begin, etc.?
Yeah, I know what you mean, because we're all that. Like, this is me, right? And you are me, and that is all. So, yeah, when we split it up into particles, we are part of everything. Is that?
Yeah, I think I was just being smartass.
But I think there's an aspect to me that feels, I think this is where we actually, you just pulled me up on something that feels smart, like feels important, because we are one with each other, but we're on a separate journey. So that's where my perspective or perception of spirit being within us, expressing itself through this physical being and this physical expression, like what I'm being reflected back through my eyes, my senses, say, like that feels like something that's coming through me. Like you and I have a very different soul life path. However, the whole soul, like the whole universal soul vibration, heartbeat is one. Like it'd be cool if this were real, but it obviously isn't. But like if you were to line up a human, a bat, a cat, a dog, or a bird, a fish, and everyone had the same pulse, like life pulse at the same beat kind of thing. It's not the way that it actually is, but I think there's something to that. And I think that soul beat is what you're talking
Yeah,
to.
so,
And then I'm
yeah.
talking about the fragment of soul that is
So it's
through us. Or how
well,
does
it's
that even work, Matt?
the creator, whatever word you want to have for that, God, spirit, source, Allah, Muhammad, Ra, whatever that word is for you, whatever that is, whatever
The
the
creator. Yeah.
blanket term you want to use for the metaphor that transcends human thought, that is creation itself, whatever that is for you, it wants to and is continually doing so infinitely, getting to know itself. But it needs to do so through the illusion of individualized consciousness. That's why you're having a Nuller experience. That's why I'm having a Matt experience. And all the branches that go off from that. It doesn't make earth logic sense. It's hard for us little 3D entities to really grasp I mean, we can't even grasp what infinity is. Something is completely boundless. For us, for us to make sense of it, there has to be in a box or a circle or some kind of contained thing.
I think that makes sense because we are contained. Like I am contained in this body. Like I can't get out of it.
Gratitude. Well,
Well, it kind of
you
makes you feel a
tried
little
to
bit
cutting your
psychotic
finger off and
when you think
opening
about
your
it.
foot up.
Well, whatever. I've only got half a finger left. No, but it actually like, when you really, it's a very like mind warping, when you think about like I am still the reason we want to do that is because we are bound into this body. Like I can't get out of this body, I don't believe, unless I die.
But also,
But I am
but also,
all of that.
like as we are all of that, imagine with our um, with our
Seeing
with
brain.
our what's the word I'm after? With our current input capacity, we wouldn't be able to handle all of it. And I know a lot of in psychological research, they did a lot of research on shamanic visitations to psych wards. And what they found, the schizophrenic, they had too much input coming in. Their filter wasn't,
That's right.
filter or what we call the ego, wasn't built up enough to be able to handle the influx of energy and information. So you've got all this input coming in, and it might as well just create static for the psyche, and it's almost impossible for what we're able to filter through and to be, you know, chewed up, swallowed, digested, and assimilated with that, with our current, um, let's say, our current instrumental sensory system. It's just too much for that. But then we also have this gift that we get to, it's like watching them. Imagine watching a movie that it's awesome. It's really good fun. Maybe you laugh, maybe you cry, but it's just, you really enjoy the experience of watching the movie. But now let's say you watch the movie, but you remember the last time you watched it. Then you watch it again, but you remember the last time you watched it, and so on and so forth, infinitely. We actually have the gift of forgetting that we've already watched the movie, and we get to then experience and participate in the movie. Thoughts?
So, uh, so this is really interesting. Do you think then, if time is space time, we're in time space,
Space time.
or we're in space time? So in time space, everything's happening at the same time. So that movie that we're playing from 1 to 100 can play backwards, can play sideways, can play like in all different ways. So I wonder, do we have then the ability through this present moment to impact what happened before?
Think of it, if we're in space time now, living this present now experience that's tangible to us, think of how many, what are we, 8 billion on the planet now? What are the odds of us sitting here right now and everyone listening to this at the precise moment they're listening to it? What are the odds of that actually happening? Minute, if you take everything into consideration. Now, that's one space-time action. Now you've got an infinite amount of probabilities branching off that. That's all happening simultaneously in time space. So if you're driving down the road, you decide to turn left here. Well, in another time space, you're going right. Another one, you're going straight. Another one, you turned around, etc., etc. But that's where linear time isn't really, it doesn't work the same as it does here.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it in that sense. I just wonder if you have, maybe I don't get it because I'm going to ask the same question again, but can you then, from this moment, impact something that happened in the past in linear time?
The
So,
only thing you can change from the past is your relationship to it.
so you
Like,
don't
I
feel that
can't,
you can.
my nan died when I was, I think, 13. I can't change that. But I can change my relationship, I guess, to her and that happening. And that's where I can evolve.
But if time space is, are we in time space?
Hang on.
No, we're space time.
Yeah.
So if time space is non-linear, then this moment that we're having right now could be impacting a myriad of moments, but only going forwards,
Only
not
we can
going
perceive
backwards.
going forward because it's linear. So if you look at,
Uh-huh.
think of a cross, you
So
got
that,
the horizontal axis, that's linear time going from, let's say, left to right, with the left being the past, going as you go right, it's the future or the possibility probabilities, but then you've got the vertical axis where they meet is the present. But that vertical axis in reality is all just doing that the whole time. So that's why they say all there is now, because it's only us third density creatures that really experience time. And what's really interesting about time, how we experience it, look at every species of plant and animal. They experience time differently.
That was really weird. Anyway,
Don't know.
we did.
Recorded the whole thing though.
It's recorded.
That's exciting. Yeah. I'll probably. No, no, it's
Oh,
still going. We're recording as we speak.
okay.
I'll just leave this
Oh,
in. That's fine.
sorry,
I was
everybody.
just talking shit about you the whole time.
Technical issues up here in the bush. Oh, wait. Oh, you never stopped. I thought I'd do like a farewell dance for you if anyone's watching the video. Okay, so
All right, you're good now. So if you want to do the goodbyes, now's probably
so
the
long,
robot goodbye.
farewell, ma vida saying adieu, adieu, adieu to you and you and you. Oh dear. I don't think I'm going to be gone for too long because I probably will call Matt and be like, hey, actually, I've got something to talk about. But it will be, I am essentially officially handing over the reins and Matt will be taking over. So please proceed to bother him with any questions that you might have. Keep signing up to the to the something or other. What is it? The email list that Matt will continue to email you.
Totally.
And yeah, I don't know. I think there's some changes in the works, and yeah, whilst it feels big and sad and emotional, it's also the right thing. And I know that Matt's going to continue bothering you all with his monotone conversation, and maybe he won't have such a funny co-host, but he'll find some fun people to talk to, and he's potentially already got a co-host in the works just to like slot right in and move right on.
Exciting things coming. I just want to say thank you to Nuala, because without Nuala, this would have never have happened. I would have never have started this solo. So thank you for making me do the mic shopping and yelling at me when you told me to do things and then I did them or that didn't exist. So I really appreciate
Just so you all know.
your tyrannical, your tyrannical reign.
I definitely gave you a good run for your money. I pushed you, but
The bruises to prove it.
yeah. Well, anyway, you're good at some things, and you know we all have our things. We're all good
We
at
all have
some
our
things and
stuff.
not so good at others, but we're all learning and transforming. And I guess on a final finishing note, before the very final finishing note, I wanted to say thank you, Matt, for this fun time that we've had together, and I look forward to more conversations, but maybe just different. And yeah, like I said, I probably will be like, Matt, I want to come back to chat, but it will be Matt's, and he'll be doing it all from here. And I just wanted to say to all of you people that have been hanging out to know this, but the wizard did find a wife. So just so you know, Cupid.
Not actual literal wife. See if she plays the cards right.
Oh. I reckon we could call it wife. I don't know. I reckon that's as far as as far as it goes. I think it's pretty solid. So congratulations, Matt. Proud of you. Proud of me. for bringing this.
Yes. Yeah, it
You
was all
can't
you.
pretend it was all you, mate. I created a whole segment for you.
Always do.
If anyone's interested, you can go back and see all the fun things that we did for Matt and his wifey wizardry.
That episode
He's been watching it
20,
back and
20,
forth,
21?
hoping, fingers crossed. And tell you what,
I only watched it
go
87
back through
times.
Instagram.
But it's interesting, this being
Oh,
episode 88.
what does that mean? Endings.
Can't remember. It's
Oh,
something
it's
to do with like a
infinite.
never-ending ending.
Oh, and it's the double because I'm 88, my
Yeah.
birth year. Anyway, that's just like, that feels solid too. There's symbolism in that too, for sure.
Good.
All right,
There
everyone,
is.
take it
There
away,
is.
Matt.
Well, thank you all for listening and sharing. We hope you enjoyed listening. I hope you enjoyed us. And do stay tuned because there are very exciting things happening
Just rubbing it
very
in.
soon.
Like, it's going to be so good, guys.
Until then,
It's going to be so good. She is out
gonna
and
be
it is going to
epic.
crank.
Now we can have some fun and get things done. So,
Can you just wait for the next episode when I'm not here to say these things, fucker? This is that thing, like, this is actually a serious situation. I'm really sad and you're like, yeah, all right, guys, the witch is dead, let's party. I'm not dead. Anyway, he's like, oh,
no, we tried.
it would have been easier if you had been. Anyway, thanks for all the fun, guys. I've had a great time. I do look forward to coming on as a what is that called? As a guest in time.
As a guest.
But until then,
yeah,
enjoy, keep listening, and over to you.
over to me, and thanks again, guys.
You've been listening to The Wizard and the Priestess. Thanks for stopping by. Stay connected and be open.